Welcome to Tungal College online classes. Hello students, how are you all? Today I am going to start another important topic of atomic structure is Bohr's model of atom. Now let us look into the postulates of Bohr's model. Postulate number 1. According to Bohr, electrons are continuously revolving around the nucleus in a circular path of fixed radius and energy. These circular paths are called as orbits, shells, or energy levels. These are numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Let us look into the statement. I am taking an atom, its nucleus. Electrons are continuously revolving in the circular paths. Right, I took an atom, its nucleus, and electrons are continuously revolving the nucleus in a circular path. These circular paths he called as orbits. Orbits are shells, or this is also called as energy levels. Also called as energy levels. These numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So n is equal to 1, n is equal to, n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4 and so on. So what is the statement? Electrons are continuously revolving in the nucleus in a circular paths of fixed radius and energy. These circular paths are called as orbits. Now let us write the statement. Electrons revolving around the nucleus in a circular paths of fixed radius and energy. Fixed radius and energy. These circular paths are called orbits or shells or energy levels, and these are numbered as n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. This is the first postulate. Postulate number 2. Energy of electron does not change with time. This point meaning is when electron is revolving in a particular orbit, it neither gain energy, never loss energy, its energy is constant. When atom absorbs energy, the electron present in the lower energy state will be jumped to the higher energy state. When energy is absorbed by the atom, electrons are jumped from lower energy state to higher energy state. Electron will be going to get reaches here. And when energy is emitted, in such case electrons coming from higher energy state to the lower energy state, in this case energy is emitted. So energy is not absorbed, energy is not emitted, the energy of electron is constant. So that these are called as stationary orbits or stationary energy levels. So simple words, second postulate is energy of electron does not change with time. Let us write the statement. Energy of electron does not change with time, and these Orbits are also called stationary orbits are stationary states. Stationary orbits are stationary state. This is the second postulates of Bohr. That point meaning is when energy of electron does not change with the time. When energy of electron will be changes, if we observe the energy, electron jumps from lower energy state to higher energy state. While coming to the ground state, it will going to get energy is emitted. Then these orbits are called as the stationary orbits or stationary energy levels. Postulate number 3. The frequency of radiation emitted or observed when electronic translation occurs between the two stationary states that differ by energy delta E. So the point meaning is suppose energy of this orbitum, energy of electron present in this orbit is I am labeling as E1. Energy of electron present in this orbit I am labeling as E2. Energy of the electron present in the first orbit is E1. Energy of the electron present in the second orbit is E2. When the difference in the energy between the two energy levels, the difference energy is given as delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. Delta E is nothing but the difference in the energy between the higher energy state and lower energy state. Now the point is when frequency of radiation we have to calculate when energy is absorbed or energy is emitted. The frequency of radiation emitted or observed when electron transition occurs between the two transition state that differ by energy delta E can be calculated as delta E is equal to h nu. The same sentence you can write here. Postulate number 3. The frequency of radiation absorbed or emitted when electronic transition occurs between two stationary states that differ by energy. Delta E is equal to h nu. So we have to calculate the frequency. So nu is equal to delta E by h. So already we know delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. Substitute the nu is equal to E2 minus E1 by h. So this is the formula we have to use to calculate the energy. Then postulate number 4. Angular momentum of electron is quantized. Angular momentum of electron is quantized. Angular momentum of electron is quantized. Quantized. Quantized, and it is angular momentum is integral multiple of h by 2 pi. So the fourth postulate is angular momentum of electron is quantized and angular momentum is integral multiple of h by 2 pi. This point meaning is and one more point, the angular momentum of electron can be calculated by using MER is equal to nh by 2 pi. So by using this formula, we are able to calculate angular momentum. Now, what is this point? Suppose angular momentum of electron is quantized. What is quantized meaning? The quantized meaning is have a specific value. Meaning of quantized. So the meaning of quantized is have a specific or a particular value. Suppose electron present in the first orbit. Imagine electron present in the first orbit. So what is the formula? MVR is equal to first orbit, in the sense n is equal to how much we have taken? 1. N is equal to 1. So n is equal to 1, NH by 2 pi, 1 h by 2 pi. That is equal to h by 2 pi. The angular momentum of electron that present in the first orbit is equal to h by 2 pi. The value is fixed, constant value. The value is fixed. Suppose this is the first orbit. If you take second orbit, MVR is equal to, n is equal to, for second orbit is 2. That means 2h by 2 pi. That is equal to h by 5. The angular momentum of electron in the second orbit is h by 5. Its value is fixed, constant value. So fixed value in this we are calling as a particular value in the call we are taking in the form of quantized. Then suppose electron present in the third orbit. Imagine. Then MVR is equal to, third in the sense n is equal to 3. That means 3h by 2 pi. So 3h by 2 pi in the sense so 1.5 h by 5. The angular momentum of electron in the third orbit is 1.5 h by 5. So if you take any orbit, the angular momentum value is constant value will be there. So that angular momentum of electron is quantized and the angular momentum is integral multiple of h by 2 pi. We have the formula to calculate MVR is equal to NH by 2 pi. So these are the four postulates of Bohr. Let us recall. First postulate: electrons are continuously revolving in the nucleus in a circular paths of fixed radius and energy are called as orbits or shells or energy levels. Then second, and these orbits are designated as n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Otherwise, we can take in designated as K shell, L shell, M shell, N shell. So they are designated as K, L, M, N. Otherwise, they are numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. The second postulate is energy of electron does not change with time. So electron present in a particular orbit, it neither gain energy, never loss energy. Its energy is constant, does not change with time. When energy will be changes, maybe electron jumps from lower energy state to the higher energy state, or will come from higher energy state to lower energy state. In such case, energy is going to get changes. So that these orbits are called as stationary orbits. Postulate number 3: frequency of radiation emitted or absorbed when electronic transition occur between the two transition states, two stationary states that differ by energy. This point meaning is energy of the electron in the first orbit I am labeling as E1, energy of electron in the second orbit is E2. The difference in energy between the two stationary states is given as delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. According to Planck quantum theory, we can calculate energy relation between the energy and frequencies. Delta E is equal to h nu. Delta E is we have to calculate nu value. Nu is equal to E2 minus E1 by h. And fourth postulate is angular momentum of electron is quantized. That means it must have a specific value. Electron present in the first orbit, its angular momentum is h by 2 pi. Electron present in the second orbit, its angular momentum is h by 5, because n is equal to 1 here, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3. So based on n value, angular momentum value is going to get changes. So these are the four postulates of Bohr. Next, the Bohr successfully calculated the radius of nth orbit and the energy of electron present in the nth orbit. Now first let us look into the radius of nth orbit. Radius of nth orbit. So we know very well that an atom, its nucleus and electrons are revolving the nucleus in a definite paths are called as orbits. So Bohr successfully calculated the radius of nth orbit. If you take many number of orbits, so this is nucleus, from nucleus to outermost orbit where the electron is present. The Bohr successfully calculated the radius of electron present in the nth orbit. This is first orbit, second, 3, 4, 5 and so on. You can take many number of orbits. So radius of nth orbit. He gave the formula. Radius of nth orbit is Rn is equal to 52.9 z square by n picometers. So by using this formula, we are able to calculate radius of nth orbit. This n value may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. And z value is, if you take hydrogen, z is equal to 1. For a hydrogen like species, we calculate for hydrogen and hydrogen like species, hydrogen it contains only one electron. And if you take helium plus, helium has two electrons. Helium plus in the sense we remove one electron, so helium plus also has one electron. If you take beryllium plus 2, lithium plus 2, lithium has 3 electrons, remove 2 electrons, we got 1 electron. So lithium plus 2 also has 1 electron. If you take beryllium plus 3, beryllium has 4 electrons, remove 1 electron, then we'll remove 3 electrons, remaining is only 1 electron. So beryllium also has 1 electron. So hydrogen atomic number is 1, its atomic number is 2, 3, 4. 4 electrons is there, we removed 3 electrons, we got 1. 3 electrons is there, we removed 2, then we got 1. 2 electrons is there, we removed 1. So this is hydrogen. These are called as hydrogen-like species, not hydrogen, hydro-like species, because all they have 1 electron. So Bohr calculated radius of nth orbit for hydrogen and even for hydrogen-like species. So by using this formula, Rn is equal to 52.9 z square by n square. So z value we can take 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Suppose if you take hydrogen, z is equal to 1. If you take helium, z is equal to 2. If you take lithium plus 2, z is equal to 3 and so on. If you take beryllium, z value is 4. So that 52.9 z square by n picometers. So we are able, he calculated hydrogen radius, radius of nth orbit of hydrogen and hydrogen like species. This is in terms of picometers. Even you can take in terms of angstroms also. Radius of nth orbit that is equal to 0.529 z square by n angstroms. So this is radius of nth orbit in terms of angstroms. So Bohr successfully calculated radius of nth orbit. Then energy of electron in nth orbit. Energy of electron in nth orbit. So electron may present in the first orbit, its energy is some constant value. If electron present in the second orbit, it have some specific value. Electron present in the third orbit and so on. So electron present in a particular orbit, its energy he calculated. So we have the formula En. Energy of electron in nth orbit, En is equal to minus RH into z square by n square. So this is the formula we have to use to calculate radius of energy of electron in nth orbit. Here RH is equal to Rydberg constant. RH is equal to Rydberg constant. Its value is 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules. So substitute this value here. Then what we are going to get is En is equal to minus Rydberg constant value is minus 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules z square by n square. So this is the formula we have to use to calculate radius of electron, energy of electron present in the nth orbit. So z value will be changes, energy will be changes, n value changes, this energy is going to get changes. So here z is for hydrogen and for hydrogen like species. I already mentioned So energy of electron we are able to calculate for hydrogen and for hydrogen like species because they contain single electron. This is in terms of joules. Even you can convert into electron volts also. 1 joule is equal, 1 electron volt is equal to 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. Then what is energy of electron in electron volts? So En is equal to, so 1 electron volt is equal to 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 joules. Then 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules is equal to how many electron volts? That is the question. So upon simplification you get 13.6 EV into Z square by N square. So this is the energy of electron present in the energy of electron present in the nth orbit in terms of electron volts. This is in terms of joules. So both formulas are used to calculate energy of electrons only. This is in terms of joules. This is in terms of electron volts. So Bohr successfully calculated the energy of electron present in the nth orbit, and Bohr successfully calculated the energy radius of electron present in the nth orbit for hydrogen and for like hydrogen like species. The next topic is explanation of line spectrum by Bohr. We know very well that the energy gap between the two orbits is given by delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. The energy gap between two energy states. The energy gap between the two energy states is given by delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. So this is the formula we have to use. Equation number 1 you can take. And Bohr calculate the energy of electron in the nth orbit. So delta E is equal to, what is the formula? RH for hydrogen into Z square by N square. So this is the formula is given to calculate energy of electron in the nth orbit. So for hydrogen, we are taking for hydrogen. For hydrogen, what we have to take is hydrogen atomic number. Z is equal to what? 1. So modify that formula. E is equal to minus RH by N square. So this we can take it as equation number 2. So in two conditions we can take. Suppose if I am taking an orbit, first orbit and second orbit, nucleus, this is the first orbit and this is the second orbit. So energy of electron in this orbit I am labeling as E1, and energy in this case I am labeling as E2. So initial E1 is the initial, that means first orbit, E2 is the second orbit. Suppose if many number of orbits will be there, in such case I am labeling it as EI, energy of electron in the first orbit. This I am labeling as energy of electron in the final orbit. So initial, and if you compare any two orbits, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so many number of orbits is there. So if you compare in second and third orbit, so in that case EI is the second orbit, EF is the third orbit. So any two orbits you can take. Initial orbit I am labeling as EI, final orbit I am labeling as EF. To these two conditions you can write the formula. Then in this case E1 first orbit or EI is equal to minus RH first orbit, the radius I am labeling as Ni square or N1 square also you can take. If you imagine this is the first orbit, this is second orbit. So second case we have E2. E2 is equal to minus RH. So this I am labeling as E2, instead of E2 I am labeling as E final orbit. So this will become NF square. These two values substitute in the first equation. So first equation also we have to modify. Instead of taking E1 and E2, we can take as EF minus EI. So delta E is equal to EF minus EI, nothing but E2 minus E1. Don't confuse. E2 minus E1 I am taking as E final orbit minus E initial orbit. Then E final orbit, what we have is minus RH by N final square minus RH by Ni square. So upon simplification we will get RH by Ni square minus RH by n f square, isn't it? So minus into minus plus, I wrote plus positive term first, then I wrote negative term. Then take RH common. Then RH, if you take common, RH is equal to 1 by n initial orbit square minus n final orbit. This is delta E. Right, we know very well that according to Planck quantum theory, delta E is equal to h nu, E is equal to h nu, nu is equal to c by lambda. So h c by lambda, nu is equal to c by lambda. I substitute here. Then in the place of, you can substitute h c by lambda. Then we will get h c by lambda is equal to RH into 1 by ni square minus 1 by n f square, isn't it? So we have to calculate wave number or wavelength. Then we are writing the formula as 1 by lambda. 1 by lambda, that is equal to 1 by lambda, nothing but what we can take nu by reciprocal of wavelength is nothing but wave number. So 1 by lambda is equal to hc, I am bringing this side, then will become RH by hc into 1 by n initial orbit square minus 1 by n final orbit. Right, substitute all these values. Then what is the formula? Nu bar is equal to 1 by lambda, that is equal to, we know very well that RH value, previously I said it is a Redpath constant, its value is 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules, previously I said. Then by H value is 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joule second, isn't it? Into velocity of light in terms of meters, 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. Next we have is 1 by ni square minus 1 by n f square, isn't it? Then nu bar is equal to 1 by lambda is equal to, upon simplification all these terms you will get 1.09677 into 10 power 7 1 by ni square minus 1 by n square meter inverse. So this is the formula we have to use to calculate frequency or wavelength of the radiation. This is a explanation of line spectrum by Bohr. Next topic is limitations of Bohr's model. Even though Bohr's model is very successful model, but it has some limitations. Let us look into the limitations of Bohr's model one by one. Limitation number 1. So Bohr's model unable to explain the spectra of atoms other than hydrogen. This point meaning is, if you take hydrogen, hydrogen has only one electron. Other elements you can take like carbon, nitrogen, calcium and so on. If you take any element other than hydrogen, the spectra of these elements unable to explain by the Bohr's model. In simple words, spectra of multi-electron atoms unable to explain by the Bohr's model. Let us write the sentence. Bohr's model unable to explain spectra of atoms other than hydrogen. So I already said this point, Bohr's model did not explain the spectra of atoms other than hydrogen, meaning is hydrogen has only one electron, remaining elements has more than one electron, and Bohr's model able to explain the spectra of one electron atoms and unable to explain the atoms which contain more than one electron. So simply Bohr's model unable to explain the spectra of atoms other than hydrogen. This is the limitation number 1. Limitation number 2. Bohr's model did not explain the Zeeman effect. Limitation number 2. Bohr's model did not explain Zeeman effect. What is the Zeeman effect? The Zeeman effect is defined as the splitting of a spectral lines under the influence of a magnetic field is called as a Zeeman effect. Let us understand by taking example. Suppose I am taking an atom, it has electron in the ground state. Right? I gave into the energy to the atom. I gave energy to the atom. So when energy is given to the atom, electrons present in the lower energy state will be jumped to the higher energy state, and electron will be reaches here. Clear? So electrons present in the ground state, that means first energy level. I gave energy to this atom. So atom took the energy, and these electrons present in the ground state will be get excited to higher energy state. Clear? Then in this case, while jumping, energy is absorbed. Energy is absorbed. While coming to the ground state from higher energy state, what is the energy is absorbed by the atom? It will emit. That means electron emit the radiation. So energy is absorbed by the atom, and electrons will be jumped to the energy state. What is electrons present in the energy state will coming to the ground state. While coming to the ground state, what is the energy they absorbed? They will give us out. So they will emit the radiation. This emitted radiation passed through the prism. We will get many number of spectral lines. So this radiation split into many number of spectral lines. We got many number of spectral lines. Right? Here you can keep magnetic field, north pole and south pole. North pole and south pole. In presence of north pole and south pole, again one spectral line split into further more number of spectral lines. So one spectral line split into further number of spectral lines. So spectral lines splitting further in presence of magnetic field and magnetic field. This phenomenon is called as Zeeman effect. So splitting of a spectral lines under the influence of magnetic field. Already we have a spectral line. The spectral line further splitting is there. So in presence of magnetic field, such a phenomenon is called as Zeeman effect. So let us write the statement. Splitting of spectral lines under the influence of magnetic field, is called Zeeman effect. So Bohr's model unable to explain the Zeeman effect. That means why the spectral line splitting further in presence of magnetic field. This is another limitation of Bohr. Limitation number 3. Bohr's model did not explain the Stark effect. Bohr's model did not explain Stark effect. So what is the meaning of Stark effect? So here also the similar. So when the energy is given to the atom electrons will take energy, electrons will going to get jump to higher energy state. While coming to the ground state, what is the energy they absorbed, that energy is going to get emitted. That emitted radiation gives us different number of spectral lines. These spectral lines, instead of keeping the magnetic field, we are keeping electric field. So I am taking here is a positive plate and this is a negative plate. I am keeping electric field. So in presence of electric field, spectral lines undergo further splitting. So splitting of spectral lines further under the influence of electric field is called as a Stark effect. So difference between the Stark effect and Zeeman effect is he used magnetic field. Zeeman used magnetic field, Stark used electric field. So the sentences will be the same. Sentence is same. The splitting of spectral lines under the influence of electric field is called as a Stark effect. Let us read the statement. The splitting of spectral lines under the influence of electric field is called a Stark effect. Stark effect. For PEC point of view, Zeeman effect and Stark effect are very important terms. Very important, these two. Then limitation number 4. Bohr's model unable to explain why atoms are combining to form a molecules by chemical bonds, through chemical bonds. Simply, why atoms are combining to form a molecules through chemical bonds, why the atoms are combining, the Bohr's model is unable to explain. So limitation number 4, it did not explain why atoms combine to form molecules through chemical bonds. In simple words, how chemical bond is forming, otherwise why atoms are combining each other to form a molecule through chemical bond or by chemical bond. This point also unable to explain by the Bohr's model. So these are the limitations of Bohr's model. First one is Bohr's model did not explain the spectra of atoms other than hydrogen. Because hydrogen contain one electron, so remaining elements contain more than one electron, so that it is unable to explain. Next, it did not explain the Zeeman effect. That meaning is splitting of spectral lines under the influence of magnetic field is called as Zeeman effect. It did not explain the Stark effect. That meaning is splitting of a spectral line under the influence of electric field is called as a Stark effect. And it unable to explain the formation of a chemical bond by atoms combining to form molecules. So simply atoms combine to form a molecule through a chemical bond, it unable to explain. So these are the limitations of Bohr's model. Next, problems based on Bohr's model of atom. Problem number 1. Calculate the radius of second orbit of hydrogen. So we have to calculate radius. Rn is a question mark. Radius of second orbit. Then what is given? Second orbit, n is equal to given, n is equal to how much is given? Second orbit. Then atomic number of hydrogen is equal to what? 1. Then what is the formula we have? Radius of nth orbit is equal to, according to Bohr, radius of nth orbit is equal to 52.9 into n square by z picometers. So this is the formula we have. Substitute these values in a given formula. That is equal to 52.9, n is equal to how much is given? 2 square. 2 square pi. Atomic number of hydrogen is 1 into picometers. That is equal to 52.9 into 4 picometers. Isn't it? Upon simplification, 52.9 into 4, we are going to get 211.6 picometers. Coming to the second problem. Calculate the radius of third orbit of helium. Then in this case, radius we have to calculate. N is given is equal to third orbit, n is equal to third orbit, and helium plus atomic number. So atomic number of helium plus helium is second atom. That means helium atomic number is 2. So z is equal to 2. Substitute the formula. So Rn is equal to 52.9 n square by z picometers. Isn't it? So 52.9 into n is equal to how much? 3 square by 2 picometers. Clear? Then 52.9, 3 square, 9 by 2 into 4.5. 4.5 picometers. Upon 52.9 into 4.5, upon simplification, you will get 238.05 picometers. This is a radius of He plus Am, that to third orbit. Next problem. Calculate the energy of electron present in the third orbit of Li plus 2. Problem based on energy. So first what is given? N is equal to 3. And what we have to calculate? Energy of electron. E is question mark. Then we have to find out Z value. Z. So Li plus 2. Lithium is third element. So Z is equal to 3. Substitute the in formula. What is the formula? Energy of electron in nth orbit is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules into Z square by n square, isn't it? Then substitute it, minus 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules into Z is equal to 3 by 3 square by n is also is given 3 square by 3 cancel. Then what is the answer? So 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules. So this is the energy of electron present in the third orbit of Li plus 3. Then calculate the energy of electron present in the second orbit of helium plus. So energy we have to calculate is question mark. So n is equal to given is a second orbit. Second orbit means n is equal to 2. Then we have helium plus. Helium plus atomic number is 2. Helium, hydrogen atomic number is 1. Helium is 2. Lithium is 3. Then we have the formula energy of electron in nth orbit is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules. Formula Z square by n square, isn't it? Substitute. So minus 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules. Z is equal to 2 square. N also will be taken as 2 square. So 2 square 2 square cancel. Upon simplification you get minus 2.18 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules. Here also we got same answer, minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 joules. So energy of electron present in the second orbit of helium is same as the energy of electron present in the third orbit of lithium plus 2. So n value will be changes, Z value will be changes, sometimes energies also will be going to get changes. So this is problems based on energy. Next class will come out with another topic.